So today I am on my other project, which is my 1980 Corvette C3 4-speed, slightly modified. Has a 427 big block in it. Recently I started doing the brakes. I shouldn't say recently, it's been a few months. I did the brakes, got them in. Then I ran into a snag with the car, and as you can see, haven't really done much. You can see all the cobwebs because it's been under a tarp for the past probably about 6-8 months. I've got the brakes started down here. As you can see, I've already got the steel braided brake lines in place. Now the last thing I really need to do is reconnect my brake line, which I need to take it off of here and reconnect it. There should be a hole back here somewhere. Alright, so okay, so we have the line hooked up, and it now runs back here to the back. I keep hitting the Wi-Fi button on the side of this camera. So okay, so as you can see, the line's hooked back up now, and it is connected to our caliper. So next thing to do will be to put some fluid into the master cylinder, because I didn't want to do that when I didn't have one hose connected. And then we will go around and do a little bleeding. Okay, so the brake bleeder set I have is a pressurized system that pressurizes from the top. In order to make my adapter plate fit, I had to pull this rear keeper spring off. And then basically this has two holes in it. They'll fit over the two spots. There's a rubber gasket on the bottom, and that gets set something like that. And what I'm going to do, this comes with some chains that you're supposed to wrap around all of this, but I'm going to use a actual ratchet strap and wrap it around the middle so that I can use the ratcheting portion of the strap to get a nice good tight fit. And since it's a strap, it won't mar up anything or cause any damage. These have rounded edges, so it won't cut the strap, and doesn't have to be that tight. So let me find my ratchet strap, and I'll be right back. Alright, this is my ratchet strap. It doesn't have an end on it, no hooks, just so I can wrap it around here and tighten it down. So what I'm going to do is over there for a second and pull this up this way. Gotta make sure you get it over the complete thing. There we go. Make sure I'm covering the end, okay? There it goes. Should be enough. Alright, let's get our tank. Get everything set up. So you ask, what happens if you don't get that plate on or that strap tight enough? Well, let me explain. That's what happens. It leaks out the back side of the thing and onto the ground. I know it might be hard to tell, but those are the bubbles. There's the container. It started empty, and that's how much fluid. Now this system was completely drained. These brake lines have been disconnected for like 8 months, so there was absolutely nothing in them. So there's my braided brake lines for the rear. It goes from the frame right there just to the other side of the frame right there. It's like 6 inches. I don't know why. Alright. See the bubbles? They're like bubbles. So what I've done is I've moved to the back bleeder, still on the passenger side rear. These calipers have 2 bleed valves on them. So there's one on the outside and there's one on the inside. And I bled the outside first because it is would technically be the farthest way. And it looks like I had a little bit of air bubbles in there for a second, but now it looks like they've pretty much cleared up. You can see that it's still filling. I think you can hear it running. So, yeah, so absolutely no bubbles coming through, so that's good. Go ahead and we'll shut this line down. So, the end of my hose is stretched out a little bit. I had to find a clamp to make it fit nice and tight because I didn't want any air bubbles. So, that's it up. Get on there. And just like that, it's on, and I still have enough room to get my wrench behind there so I can open it up. So, back in a minute. Alright, you can see those bubbles chugging out of there now. There they go. You know, bleeding brakes in this fashion, sort of like watching paint dry. It's boring as fuck. So, instead of making you watch me watch bubbles, I will be back when I move on. Okay, now we're on the back side. We've got a few bubbles coming out now. Not a whole lot. Most of the air came out on the passenger side. This has been fairly decent. So just a few minutes of letting it trickle into the jar. We've got virtually no bubbles in the line anymore, none even coming out. So I guess what we can do is go ahead and shut this valve off, and then we'll move up to the passenger's front. Okay, as you can see, we still have fluid in there, and I've just re-pumped it up to 7 pounds. So we'll go ahead and do the passenger side front, and see how things go. So in the front, we just have one here at the upper, and there are none on the outside. Alright, so the fluid level is really high in, So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and suck some of this out. So now that I've removed some fluid, I can put the cap on, I can put this clip back on, and be golden.